I published some roadmap recently. So what we want to achieve, we want to bring more liquidity to Waves. This is very important. This is our main goal in 2021. So we have set an ambitious goal to reach the mark of 10 billion US dollars locked on Waves platform by this fall. It's quite ambitious, so we have a lot of things to do. We need to bring liquidity over from other chains. We need to launch new pools which are based on traditional order books. So on Waves.Exchange, there's going to be like pool mechanics and many other things. So I think this is the most important because we have a very nice and advanced technology, and the next step is to add some liquidity, because without liquidity, any blockchain is quite dead. So it's like water. So without water, we all die. The same applies to blockchains. So we need more liquidity, and this is our most important goal for this year. So how we're going to proceed? I will try to enable voice chat for people who want to ask questions, and we'll actually be talking to each other. Let's see how it goes. Well, let's try to do it like in voice chat. Probably I can start replying to written questions, but I think it's nicer to have a real conversation. So, Nestor is asking about the future lending platform. It's going to be launched quite soon. As you understand, DeFi actually has two parts, two like major parts for now. This is swap pools and lending pools. We have swaps on Swop.fi, and now we need to add lending platform to that. So the next step for us is to increase the utility of DeFi on Waves by adding lending pools. We had a project which was called Lamborghini, and actually it was live years ago. And now we want to turn it into a full-fledged lending platform, similar to Aave and other platforms you know on Ethereum. So it's not going to be something revolutionary, I guess, but this is something that we need to do in order to complete Waves DeFi, because without lending, you don't have a proper DeFi, because lending allows you to trade on-chain on margin. You know, it creates some kind of marginal trading for on-chain mechanisms. So as you know, DeFi is all about on-chain trading, basically, on-chain value transfer, and lending adds margin. So you can have like marginal positions if you have lending. So it's quite important because it can allow us to lock more Waves into Waves DeFi products, and our goal is 10 billion, as I told you. So just a random question. How about Maxim is asking, how about adding decentralized data storage to Waves? It's very interesting. We have seen very big projects, for example, Filecoin, which is quite successful, I guess. I think that we're going to do it, and this is the next step of our roadmap. So we have liquidity stage of our roadmap, which should last until next fall, and then we will have the scaling phase of our roadmap, which will implement sidechains. And I believe that one of those sidechains should become a data sidechain. Technically, it's not so complicated. This is a matter of like resource development and utility. So if there's a demand for this, we're going to be doing that soon. If there are other projects that solve this issue successfully, probably we will do that a little bit later in our roadmap. But the idea is to create application chains based on the new sidechain protocol that we'll be developing starting from this fall. And before, until then, we'll be working on Liquidity on Waves and many other important things, such as the new node release with a new write language, which will actually enable many interesting things, such as flash loans on Waves. And flash loans are quite important for increasing the total value locked, because flash loans increase liquidity quite drastically. If you add margin trading, I won't be able to buy food this month. Man, I don't think it's so bad, you know. Maybe you're gonna buy more food, you know. So don't be so pessimistic. Good question from research. How interoperable is Waves platform planning to be? We're gonna have as much interoperability as possible, you know, because we can't be like fully interoperable with Ethereum, for example, but we will provide some mechanisms for example, using MetaMask on Waves. So you'll be able to log into Swop.fi and Waves.Exchange with your MetaMask. That's for sure. As for deeper interoperability, we'll be working on that too. And as I wrote in the roadmap, we're going to have an EVM sidechain, and this should be done. I think this is not so urgent now because there's too many projects that are developing EVM blockchains and try to steal some liquidity from Ethereum, you know. So it's quite hard to compete, and I don't think that we should do that. We should think about the next step of the development, and if we implement EVM chain as a side chain in Waves ecosystem, I think this is going to be more helpful. So to summarize, I think that we're going to be as interoperable as possible. At the same time, we want to develop our ecosystem. So we do need some more liquidity, and we will be cooperating with all blockchains, especially with Ethereum, Binance Smart Chain, because on Ethereum, as we know, there's a problem of congestion. It's quite congested actually, and people pay a lot of money to do basic smart contract calls. You know, you can't really pay $100 for a smart contract call. So, you know, obviously this is something that can be used by not so many people. You know, so of course it's quite important to help Ethereum fight this problem by diverting part of that liquidity to other chains. But I think this is temporary, because in any case there's going to be Ethereum to zero, and the problem will be solved within Ethereum itself. So we should better think about what's going to happen next. So at this stage, I'm more focused actually on the next stage of blockchain development. You know, because if we chase the current hype, you know, we could miss the next one. So we will be, of course, trying to boost the value of Waves Waves technology as much as possible, as soon as possible. But we still need to think about what's going to happen next. You know, and I think that the most important things technically are ahead of us, because I think there's going to be a new phase of development for distributed ledgers, which won't even include blockchains. You know, so I've been thinking about that a lot, and probably too early to announce anything, but I think that we'll come up with something that can be shown as a prototype not really soon enough, but it's going to happen, because I think that is quite important. So we should think about the next step of development. At the same time, trying to keep up with the market and promote what Waves has, because we have actually quite a lot, and I think at this stage is quite undervalued. So I'll be honest with you. So we should move forward at the same time, trying to promote our technology, our achievements as much as possible. Guys, so who wants to talk? Who wants to speak? I want to hear your voice. There's one guy from Nigeria who wants to speak. So let's try him out. Hey. No, he's gone.
To now I can
Oh,
talk about. Hello,
Tiago, hey.
Sasha. See,
Who's speaking?
I come here now. I not come science starts. Then I can talk about anything. I I listen. Just listen.
Okay, so I heard a voice from Tiago, our Brazilian friend. I don't know how he was able to speak, because I didn't allow him to, but it's okay.
Yeah, Sasha, maybe for short, Sasha BNS here. So basically,
hey,
everybody
man.
who is admin is able to talk, and for the rest of the people, like all the channel admins, can right away talk. And for anybody else, needs to get allowance from either you or an admin.
Yeah, right,
Just
but
to
I can see
yeah.
only a few people who ask for permission actually to speak. So
Yes, I actually am Samson from Nigeria, and I asked for permission to talk. I
yeah,
wanted
so
to ask.
please ask. Yeah, sure, please ask. Yeah, hey.
Okay. Actually, WCT, seeing the way WCT is going, as if it's going into the dead zone. That was one of my concerns. Then free liquid. I thought it was a lending platform.
Yeah.
Is it on Waves or it's on another platform?
Yeah. So let me talk about different tokens on Waves, because people are asking a lot of questions. So, for example, WCT, that was a quite old project. With WCT, you could vote for like legitimacy of different Waves tokens, and it somehow wasn't so successful. So we still have WCT, and we don't abandon it. So I have several ideas how we can bring it back to life. I know that people are a little frustrated about what happened to WCT, but I feel your pain, guys. So I think that it's not that, and we'll come up with some idea to bring it back to life. I actually have had several options for it, like for months. It's just I can't get around to it, because we do have so many things, and WCT is in the pipeline, and it's going to be useful. So either directly or indirectly, let me not elaborate on this, but in any case, we will bring the value back to WCT, because I understand that Waves community token, like a token with this name, should have value. And I understand that people might hate me for neglecting the token. So, guys, I'll make sure that everything is going to be fine with it. So please bear with me, because the thing is, I can't really get around to it, because we launch so many things and all the time. It's quite complicated. As for free liquid, as far as I understand, I know them actually. So this is a project on Ethereum, and this is like some kind of a meta stable coin. So basically, they use other stable coins to back their stable coin. And one of the stable coins they use is Neutrino. So we can't really not allow them to actually be on Waves because they use USDN. And they were, as far as I know, they were added to Swop.fi this week. And there is a voting for the APY for their governance token, which is called FL, if I remember correctly. So why it's on Swop.fi? Because they use USDN, and we should support all the projects that use USDN. That's it. So
okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
For the explanation.
Yeah. So who else wants to speak? If you're able to speak, for some reason, so, because I still can't figure out why some people can and why some people can't. Just ask me a question.
Sahas?
Hey, I hear some faint voice in the
Алло,
distance.
да, Александр, добрый вечер. Меня Антон зовут.
Could you speak English, please, because people are mostly not Russian here. Yeah.
My English is bad. I'm sorry.
Okay, speak Russian and I'll translate. Speak Russian. I'll translate.
Окей. Да, Александр, я вот хотел поинтересоваться у вас по поводу сотрудничества со Сбербанком, которое у вас вроде как намечается на май, потому что я слышал, что Сбербанк собирается запускать тоже свой блокчейн, и вот интересно по этому вопросу, что, как можете прокомментировать?
This is a question about the cooperation of our enterprise branch in Russia with Sberbank, the biggest bank in Russia. So they launched their blockchain. It's actually not based on Hyperledger, and they plan to launch some kind of a crypto ruble, some kind of it's not like central bank digital currency. So there is a project in Russia and in many other countries to launch a proper central bank digital currency. So Sberbank is launching its own thing. It's not clear at this stage whether the Central Bank of Russia will allow it to exist. So it's still quite undecided at this stage. We do interact with Sberbank, our Russian enterprise branch. Works with Sberbank, and there's going to be some gateway probably between Waves Enterprise and Waves Enterprise chain and Sberbank chain. So at least it's going to be developed. So how it's going to work in reality is still unclear, because it's still unclear whether Sberbank will actually launch this platform. But we have been cooperating with them for the gateway platform between Waves Enterprise and Sberbank. Yes, and I want to actually add something about our Russian activities. So we don't have any cryptocurrency related activities in Russia anymore. We moved it out of Russia, so we're going to have several offices. We have launched an office in Dubai recently, and we'll add some more offices in different countries. This is why we are doing this, because we want to be more international. First, we actually have always been international, although people have actually been thinking about Waves as a Russian project. So it's not true, actually. The other thing is there's a new regulation in Russia which basically bans cryptocurrencies. So I won't comment on this. I think it's, of course, I think it's not right, yeah, but I just don't want to go into the details, because I have spent quite a lot of time on this, on like promoting the approach that I think is right, but basically it failed in Russia. So in Russia, the situation is quite dire, I would say, with cryptocurrencies. So we just can't legally have any cryptocurrency-related activities in Russia. So we moved them out of Russia, but we keep all the enterprise projects. And there's several very big and very interesting enterprise projects. For example, we have a project in Russia with the tax authority of Russia. So they have their own blockchain, which is based on Waves Enterprise, and they actually provide loans to different companies on our blockchain. And there is several other very big projects in Russia, but they're related to enterprise blockchain, not to cryptocurrencies.
Hello?
Yeah, who's speaking? Who's talking?
Me.
Yeah. Serkan?
I have a question about Wave Enterprise.
Yeah, sure. Ask. Yeah.
Will the Wave Enterprise decentralized finance product be usable by the general public or only by the private enterprises?
It's going to be used by general public. So there is a project on Waves Enterprise to launch a stablecoin, which is backed by real assets. It's going to be like a hybrid product. It's going to be backed by both West token, the native token of West blockchain, and also by real assets, real world assets. So this is like a new approach when you combine real world assets with digital currency. So the idea is to create a stable coin, which is backed by like bonds, for example, by different assets which exist in traditional finance. So the idea is to create a retail product. So it's going to be used not only by enterprise but also by retail customers. So basically by everybody, but it will be backed by real-world assets. For example, you can back it with some bond, for example, Euro bond. You can back it with some stable, other stable assets. So it's quite an interesting approach. I don't think that we are the only blockchain that tries to do it. Enterprise blockchain is just starting, but probably are not the only one, but one of the few companies that think about combining enterprise with DeFi, because there is a huge interest for DeFi from like real world companies, and there is like some kind of a understanding barrier which they have to break through, you know. So I don't understand why there is so little activity in the space now, because currently DeFi can yield very high profits, and there is so many requests from like real world businessmen and companies to somehow allow them to participate in this activity. And it's starting to happen slowly. So we'll see some combination of traditional finance and DeFi quite soon. And I think that this is just the first step. For example, when national central bank currencies, cryptocurrencies are launched, DeFi will actually acquire a new dimension, because you'll be able to stake your like digital dollar, you know, which you actually receive a salary, like, and which you store on your credit card. You'll be able to stake it, and that, you know, it's a whole new world. It's a brave new world, which is just starting. And the combination of enterprise and DeFi is just the first step in that direction. So to summarize, what Waves Enterprise is trying to do with their stablecoin is to create a stablecoin backed by real assets and available to everybody. So it's a retail product, but based on like enterprise approach. Next question, please.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Julian. Please ask me something.
Hello, Sasha.
Hey, yes.
I have a problem with Wave, the DEX, the
Yeah,
exchange.
tell me which. Yeah.
It's actually, should I say, it's slow or the liquidity. Maybe I want to get $500 dollar coin. I might be getting one, then I'll go and change the value to buy more. It's not really, should I say, it's not really fast. Unlike, sorry, I'm comparing you with like Binance. You know, on Binance it fluctuates, so it's faster to buy and sell. But on Waves, you might leave your sell order and it takes like 2 days, 3 days.
Yeah. So
I don't know if you can improve it. Let it be very fast.
I understand. Yeah. So it depends, of course, on your trading pair. Depends on what you want to sell or buy. But in a way, you're right. So we do have some liquidity deficiency, on Waves.Exchange at the moment. But we're gonna work on it. And don't forget that Waves.Exchange is a decentralized exchange, so some things are very different from centralized exchanges. So what we're going to do actually, we're going to add more liquidity the way Uniswap did that, by creating pools, user pools, who can users can add their liquidity to any trading pair on Waves.Exchange. So for example, if you have Bitcoin and USDN, you can add liquidity to Bitcoin USDN pair on Waves.Exchange and earn yield farming rewards. So it's going to happen this spring. We are working on this now. So it's going to be like Uniswap, you know Uniswap, of course, or 1inch, or any other swap, on-chain swap, combined with traditional exchanges. That is order books. So there's going to be order book, so you can put a limit order there, but at the same time, it is combined with user pools. So by providing incentives to add liquidity through yield farming, because you make money when you add liquidity, as you do on Swop.fi or Sushi or Uniswap, we plan to add more liquidity to Waves.Exchange. So it's quite important, and it can be some kind of a breakthrough, because this will combine like traditional exchanges, because they have order books, with decentralized exchanges. So this might become the next step in development of DEXs, because they combine like the best of the two worlds. Order books, when you can set a limit order, and user pools, where you could just add money to the pool and earn rewards. So through this, we plan to add more liquidity to Waves, and it's quite important, and we are focusing on this. So please be a little patient and don't quit using Waves.Exchange, because we will solve this problem. I think until summer you will see a great improvement in this. And this is a new technology, and it requires some time to develop. So we are on it, and we think this is the most important, and we will succeed in bringing more liquidity to Waves. Just wait a little. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Sasha, if that would be okay for you, I would kind of support you with moderation of the guys on the stage, because some are waiting quite long and some others are raising hands.
Sure,
so focus on the answer.
Sure.
So Saruos, it would be your turn if you are still here.
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah.
Could you speak up, please?
Sahab, I have a simple question similar to the one of your member that been talk about the liquidity and processing speed on the decentralized platform. Basically, that I know that you are working on decentralized to speed up the decentralized demand, and to make sure that the decentralized platform are scalable and fast and nearly to compete with the make decentralized to compete with centralized. But currently, most of the people they are demanding trading, spot trading. So I think that most of the customer they come to the exchange currently they are looking for spot to buying some crypto or to buying some to process some crypto in daily living styles to support their living style. So um, you better I think we should do it separately or might be faster because nowadays spot crypto like we can combine like traditional central exchange like Binance they have a spot crypto exchange but all the exchange pool they have its own pools they have the liquidity aggregation with other liquidity providers so they um, this option will help user to speed up the order and speed up the processing. So you can study or you
What
can check.
are the risks of the Waves project?
Sorry. Please, please don't speak all together at the same time. Sorry, could you finish your question, please?
Yeah. So my question is, it possible to do similar to the Binance like separate product that faster speed? If people want to choose the faster one, like a Binance, then they can choose. If they would like to choose the decentralized, like that currently you are doing, then they can choose. Or you can choose to combine the centralized and decentralized, take it into the wave exchange and generate more liquidity for wave exchange. So this gonna be help you to improve the liquidity. So I just want to check if this is possible.
Yeah. So as far as I understood you, I can't hear you too well actually, but I think I got the general meaning. So you suggest that we do some kind of liquidity aggregation with centralized exchanges. Yes, it does. It does make sense actually. Yes. So and we will be doing this as well. So, but what we want to do first, we want to create some kind of new liquidity, because there is like two options. You can try and bring the liquidity over from some different source where it already exists, or you can attract liquidity just like from scratch. For example, the way Uniswap did it. So we want to combine both, but start with user pools, user liquidity pools, and yield farming incentives for Waves Exchange. So people are able to basically add their liquidity into pools on Waves Exchange, and now they have like LP token. They become LP providers, liquidity providers, and through this we wanna create like new liquidity on Waves Exchange. At the same time, we will be working on importing liquidity from centralized platforms, because many big platforms such as Binance, they offer this. You can use their API, but there is also, for example, on Binance, there is this functionality when you can basically launch your own exchange with their liquidity. Sorry, I forget the name, how it's called, but it exists. So just an example. So you can basically tap into their liquidity and bring it over to your exchange. It is doable, but I think the first step would be to do something what Uniswap did, because they just created liquidity out of nothing, which is amazing. And this is like a huge achievement, I guess, so it took us a while, like in ecosystem, and on Waves, we kind of overlooked this, I must admit. But it is a huge achievement, because in terms of value transfer on blockchains where you can basically do trading on the blockchain, like decentralized and trustless. It's huge, and we want to replicate this, but for like traditional order books and traditional exchange structure, where you can basically can use traditional order book. If you log into Waves.Exchange, you will see like traditional order book, like it's like very regular and very old school, so to say. But at the same time, you'll be able to provide liquidity to any trading pair. For example, imagine that you can do that on Binance. For example, you trade Waves or Ethereum to Tether on Binance, but at the same time, you can just add Ethereum and Tether to that pair and receive BNB for this, So that would be huge, actually. But Binance took another route, which is very successful, incredibly successful. Yeah, good for them. They're like, it was really ingenious, actually. They just created their own blockchain, created like swaps on it, and connected them to their centralized platform. By this, they have a lot of arbitrage between their centralized platform and different swap pools on Binance smart chains, such as like PancakeSwap. So they have a ton of liquidity, and it's like really amazing what they did. But it's like it's not the only approach that can be taken. So we tried to do something else. We tried to attract liquidity the way Uniswap did it. So basically, by providing some yield farming incentives for adding liquidity to traditional pairs, so to say. So it's quite interesting technically because it combines on-chain with off-chain. Let's see what happens. But the next stage after this will be trying to bring the liquidity over from centralized platforms, definitely. So I think that it's quite an interesting moment, I guess, because what we have in crypto now is huge, So everything is growing, so capitalization is growing, but they're all like quite old technologies, So this is just the right time for them. So they were all launched several years ago, and it's quite interesting what's going to happen next. So I personally, and I guess most of Waves, is focusing on what's going to happen next, So we think about what if we can combine traditional exchanges with yield farming, for example. And you'll see this quite soon. And we also think about other future developments. So to summarize, actually, it's my lengthy reply. We will be trying to aggregate liquidity from other chains, but at the beginning, we want to replicate what Uniswap did for liquidity, but for traditional, kind of traditional exchanges. So order books, like you can set a limit order, and at the same time, you can have LP token that actually brings you some yield farming reward. So this is the idea, and let's see what happens, because it's going to happen quite soon on Waves.
All right, thank you, Sasha.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
So before we head to the next, I would like to remind you guys to, when you have asked your question and Sasha is talking, please mute your mic, because otherwise we have a lot of background noise. So Saros, would be great if you could also mute your mic, and then I would head to Serkan would be next, and some other guys are actually waiting. We will bring you up on stage. Just be a little bit patient, and we just want to make sure that you all have your time. Thanks.
Hello, Sasha.
Hey, Serkan. Hey.
I'm very pleased to have you here on this EMA, and I hope we make those EMAs regularly. And actually, you mentioned some of parts in your previous answer. I'm wondering about in your roadmap, I see Waves.Exchange liquidity pools. And I'm wondering what will be the main difference between Swop.fi and Waves.Exchange liquidity pools. Thank you.
Yeah, so the main difference is the idea is the same, but they're used for very different things, because on Swop.fi you have purely on-chain exchanges, and on Waves.Exchange you have some kind of a hybrid DEX actually. So it's a true DEX. It's not hybrid, you know. So it's like some kind of combination of centralized and decentralized. It's a true DEX, but some part of it is actually centralized to make sure that the transactions are faster, and at the same time we achieve like decentralization, but with traditional exchange structure. So we have order book, for example. So as I said in my previous reply, right now to the previous question. So imagine that you can add liquidity to any pair on Binance. You know, that would be fun, I guess. Yeah. So you log into Binance and you use your Ethereum and your Tether, and you just add them to Ethereum Tether trading pair, and you just earn some interest. You know, so there might be some impermanent loss. So, but the interest that you earn covers that loss actually. So it's quite interesting. So we want to do the same. So on Swop.fi you have traditional yield farming for like on-chain transactions, and on Waves.Exchange you're going to have some kind of yield farming for like old school exchanges with order books, where you can basically add your liquidity to any trading pair on Waves.Exchange. For some pairs, you're going to be receiving yield farming rewards. So there's going to be governance which will enable those rewards for some pools, some like legitimate pools. But you will be able to launch your token like immediately. As you know, it's very easy on Waves. You can just click a button and you have your token. And at the same time, you can add liquidity, because it's quite important. Waves DEX always lacked liquidity, and we actually worked with the problem quite a lot, but we were unable to solve it up to now. And I think this is the moment when we are about to solve it. So you have your token, you launch it, and the next click adds liquidity to any token that you launched, basically, as you do on Uniswap, but with a fraction of cost, naturally, because Waves is much cheaper now, and you're going to have like your bids and asks, so it's going to look like a normal, regular exchange. But the idea of yield farming, the idea of providing liquidity for trading and receiving some rewards for this is the same. It's just it is applied to different mechanisms. So in case of Swop.fi, it is applied to on-chain transactions. In case of Waves.Exchange, it is applied to traditional order books. So as for like profitability, I don't know. So I think it will be approximately the same. But on Waves.Exchange, there's going to be just more pairs actually. So as you know, you can trade any token against any other token on Waves.Exchange, and you can provide liquidity to any pair on Waves.Exchange. So not now, but in near future. So this is the answer. So mechanism is approximately the same, but it is applied to different platforms, to different underlying technologies.
All right. Thanks, Sasha.
Thank you.
Then we would head to Wave 70, please.
Hello, thanks. I would like to ask about regulation and KYC requirements that are coming up What do you think about the Waves exchange? Will it be resistant to KYC rules coming up by the governments, or what do you think about that?
Sure. So you have to find some balance here, some middle ground. So KYC is not meant to kill projects, So, of course, when there is when there are some limits, that are imposed on Waves Exchange, if there is no KYC, we will implement KYC, and maybe even earlier. For example, for gateway transactions, when people deposit Bitcoin, it might require KYC quite soon, but I guess not soon enough, So we will try to keep the decentralized nature of Waves Exchange as long as possible, because you need to understand why KYC is implemented, So we of course are as compliant as possible. And at a certain stage, it will be implemented in some form, but you should also remember that eventually all those things will be decentralized as well. So you will have some kind of a decentralized KYC, for example, based on karma or ratings, and it might happen that we will implement some kind of a decentralized KYC. As for like more basic KYC, which requires selfies and such, we do have it for credit card transactions now, which are done through third-party provider, and they do KYC. We want to actually create some like basic layer for decentralized trading, on top of which different products can be built. For example, buying your crypto with your credit card, which would need KYC from like third-party providers. What I personally want to do, I want to focus on decentralized part of the thing, and not try to do, for example, fiat payments, because I think at this stage it's not so important. Many huge platforms such as Coinbase are solving this problem, and we should work on the decentralized layer and make sure that it will remain decentralized like forever. And if we try to implement some KYC to probably prevent any kind of questions from like authorities, that wouldn't be right for the technology, So we should always remember that we want to develop the decentralization idea, and KYC should be implemented when it's absolutely necessary. So if we try to implement KYC first and then try to do something decentralized, it might harm our decentralization. So to summarize, we are as compliant as possible, but we always remember about our mission to bring decentralization. This is a mission that all blockchain projects have, to a different degree, of course, but I think that Wave's mission is to bring new directions for decentralization, and not try to work with fiat payments, because many other projects are focusing on this, and they are great, but this is not our cup of tea. So our goal is to improve decentralization and take it as far as possible. So KYC should be and will be used, it will be implemented until it doesn't hurt the decentralization idea too much.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, so Sasha, we have 4 more people on stage. I don't know for how long you want to run the AMA. That's okay for you?
Basically as much as you guys want, actually.
Okay, so we have mydefi.online on stage. You would be next. It's a Russian friend. I'm sorry, I cannot read your name actually. But yeah, it would be your turn. mydefi.online.
Yes, thank you. Hello, Sasha. My name is
Hi.
Maxim, and I'm pleasure to meet you here. First of all, I want to say that I wish every success to all projects of Waves ecosystem, both public and corporate. You know that the field of financial and technological education is growing very rapidly. Investments in this direction can be promising. I know there are support program, grant program for developers, and I would like to know if support for an educational project can be provided. And if so, where should I go or who to contact? Thanks a lot.
So I think that we do that activities now in our Waves Association. What Waves Association is, it is a German association, like traditional association, like legal entity, registered in Germany, which has the mission of promoting and furthering Waves technology. So you can reach out to them, you can become a member of the association, and there is a grant program that you can apply for. So this is the right place for you to go to. Waste Association website, you can find it quite easily, and contact the association, and there is different directions where you can help and where we can probably help you. One of them is grants, for example. So if you want to apply for a grant, it's also possible. It's a little bit different from maybe other platforms because we don't have a foundation. We have an association. It's a different form of representing a decentralized blockchain. But it's quite interesting as well because anybody can become a member, anybody can participate, anybody can vote for grants, anybody can apply for a grant. So check it out, it's quite interesting. I guess we are the only blockchain project that has this structure. Mostly people have foundations, and we have association. So check it out, it's Waves Association. Just type it in Google and you'll find it.
Okay, so many thanks and goodbye.
Thank you, Maxim. Thank you, Maxim.
All right, OMGNO, it would be your turn.
All right, I hope everybody can hear me. Thanks, Sasha, for hosting this AMA. I have a question about NSBT. So currently, NSBT holders are receiving part of the fees, or are receiving the fees from the swaps waves to USDN, the other way around.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a bit more about new revenue streams going towards NSBT holders?
Yeah. So so what's going to happen to NSBT is going to actually grow because USDN will grow. This is like certain, you know. So this is something that's going to be happening. And NSBT is receiving fees from swaps, from Waves to USDN and USDN back to Waves swaps. So this APY is quite high actually. So it is quite important for NSBT. But this is not the only thing that NSBT gets because it's getting fees from so-called default assets. This is the assets that are based on USDN. For now, it is a local currency such as euro or Turkish lira. And when you do swaps for them, NSBT holders also receive some commission. And there is a governance aspect.
Sorry, guys. There is a governance aspect to NSBT.
Sorry, I will be back in a sec.
All right.
So if you guys, if you have more questions, just raise your hands.
Sorry,
You'll be.
there is some
Yeah.
some
So Sasha's
unexpected
back.
situation here. So can you hear me?
Yep.
So NSBT is gonna profit from default swaps, swaps of like national currency, but that's not all, because there is like a governance aspect to NSBT, which will allow, for example, to vote for the nodes who receive waves staked in USDN smart contract. If you check it, you will see that around 40% of all waves token are locked into a Neutrino smart contract. Currently, those waves are staked, and the profits go to USDN holders. But the miners, the nodes who the nodes who hold hold those waves are not like chosen randomly as it should be. So there's like a certain number of nodes that use those tokens, and we have to decentralize this basically. So people will vote for the nodes who that actually use those least waves to mine. Basically, it's quite important because there is quite a bit of money in this, and this functionality is going to be very important for governance, because it will create a demand for NSBT, because people will buy it to vote for their nodes. If I want to simplify it, you know. So that's how it's going to be. So there is a governance aspect to NSBT which is not fully unfolded yet, and it is being implemented right now, and we will see this quite soon after the release of the next version of Waves node, because this thing will require leasing. What is leasing on Waves when you like provide your Waves to another address to actually give that address some staking power. So this thing should be decentralized and should be done on the smart contract level, and it will be there in the next release. So it will actually require us to some time to implement, but this will add a lot of functionality and usability to NSBT. So please stay tuned for this, because NSBT is just starting, and it's just, you know, it is in initial stages of its development, and all the interesting things are still ahead.
Thank you.
All right, we would head over to Johan.
Please, next question. Guys.
Johan, can you hear us? So it would be your question. So it seems like Johan has left the room.
Hey guys, can you hear me? Because I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
We can hear you.
Yep, we hear you. So actually, would have been Johan's Johan's question, Johan, but he's actually not muted, but he's also not talking.
Yeah, please.
Okay, no more questions right now from the audience.
I have another question, if I may.
Hello, Johan here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey.
You hear me now? Fine.
Yeah,
Thanks.
I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I have a question about synthetic assets. Very excited about this. Can you give a bit more color on the collateralization of these?
Yeah. Let me explain. Yeah, it's quite interesting actually. So I came up with that idea to implement synthetic assets without over collateral. When you basically provide liquidity into some kind of a swap pool, and when you do that, the synthetic asset is issued. So, for example, you want to issue Tesla assets, you just add some USDN to the pool, and when you do that, your USDN is divided in two parts. One part is converted into Tesla asset using the external Oracle price, and the other part remains intact and is added to the swap pool. So through this, you basically create a synthetic asset, and at the same time, you provide liquidity for swaps. And when people want to buy Tesla token, they just go to that pool and send their USDN there and receive a Tesla coin. There is some slippage. There is some commission for this, which goes to liquidity providers. So it's quite interesting because you don't need to add too much liquidity, too much backing. For example, Neutrino doesn't have this requirement either. So currently we have like X, I guess like 200% over collateral on Neutrino, but it can work also without over collateral. For example, in Synthetics protocol on Ethereum, you have, I guess, 800% over collateral, and it just, I think, it's quite inefficient. It's a quite inefficient usage of funds. In this scenario, you don't have this. You have your synthetic asset, you have a liquidity pool for this, and you don't need any over collateral. And through this, you can actually launch any synthetics you want. It shouldn't be only Tesla. It can be anything from S&P to obscure small pink sheet stocks. So I think it's quite interesting. And we are just starting on this. The idea is quite simple, and we just need to implement this. So I think this is going to be on Waves quite soon, and we'll have a number of different assets from Tesla token to, I don't know, to metals and commodities. And you will be able to provide liquidity to those pools, which is also quite interesting from money-making perspective, So there's going to be a huge number of new pools that will help us achieve our goal of 10 billion TVL locked into Waves DeFi products.
Yeah, understand. Thank you. And will there be a place for NSBT holders in this? In an outflow of synthetic assets?
Definitely, yes. So I'm thinking currently about different scenarios to combine it with NSBT. And I should add actually that NSBT has a lot of functionality even without this. In any case, NSBT holders will benefit from this too. But at the same time, what NSBT holders have? They have fees from swaps, and they will have governance functionality from providing ways for different Waves nodes. So there's a lot to NSBT functionality. This is much more than most governance tokens have. And I will try to come up with some idea to combine it with the future volatile assets as well. You shouldn't be worried. NSBT is important, and we'll make sure that, as you probably wish, that its price is going to grow and its utility is going to grow, so it's going to go up. There is some details that we need to figure out, but in any case, NSBT is important. This is like the governance token in Neutrino. Neutrino is like a staple of Waves currently because all the products on Waves effectively depend on Neutrino. So NSBT is important, and we will make sure that it stays important in future as well.
Thanks a lot. Can I ask one question more? Yeah.
Sure. Go ahead. Yeah.
Sasha, I'm curious. You started in 2016 with this, and you saw the hype in 2017. Can you give a little bit about your opinion about what's like this cycle different than other cycles, and how do you see this compared to the interest in Waves?
Yeah, it's what is happening now is huge. So we're an old project. Actually, I've been doing blockchain since probably 2014, I guess. Yes, we're not new, but we are full of energy still. What makes the cycle different? Because it's quite easy to see. This is a cycle of mass adoption. We actually have achieved this. Like, you know, we might have not noticed it, you know, but we are there. So now, for example, if you follow not only crypto but like general news, you have heard about NFT tokens, and everybody knows about NFT tokens. For example, there were like auctions where people sold their artworks for like $60 million, and every news outlet in the world has had an article about this, you know. So we are in the stage of mass adoption. This is like the beginning. Is gonna go up, and market capitalization of different crypto assets is gonna be, I guess, around dozens of trillions within a couple of years, you know. So we will see bear markets as well, definitely, because it's just a natural cycle. You know, crypto is not different from any financial market in this regard. But this is the beginning of the phase of greatness for crypto, you know, because it's like mainstream already. So if it's somewhere not so, like in Russia, for example, yeah, because people in Russia have some like strange ideas, like in government, about what crypto should be. You know, it's not important. You know, it doesn't change the general picture of mass adoption and of crypto being used by many different agents, actors for different things, from like art collectors to huge payment networks as Visa, for example, because Visa has announced that it would be using USDC to settle payments within Visa network, which is incredibly huge, you know. So now we are in the phase in which internet was around at the beginning of this century, you know, when there was like this boom and then crash, and then internet has started to grow exponentially. So we are just in that phase. Somebody is gonna win, somebody is gonna lose. I hope we will be one of the winners. We are doing our best for it, but I'm very excited and delighted, even if Waves could probably have achieved more. I'm very excited about like the general development of the ecosystem, like of general crypto ecosystem, you know, because it's huge what's happening now, and I'm very glad that I am able to witness this, you know, because we are at the beginning of a huge phase, and actually what happened in 2020 has helped many projects quite drastically. All those things with pandemic, actually. There is like huge amount of dollars that was printed. A lot of it went into crypto, and it helped a lot of projects, and we can see huge growth. It's good for crypto. Now what happened in 2020, it helped crypto actually in a way somehow. So I'm very excited for the future, and I think this is the beginning of a huge bull cycle which will last for decades to come actually.
Yeah, it's very exciting indeed, and thanks a lot for doing this.
Thank you.
All right, so we have another Sasha. Sasha, it would be your turn. Your question, please, if you're still online. So if not, in the meantime...
can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, great. Thank you for the opportunity to ask my question. Hi, Sasha. I would like to ask about the lending protocol that you are going to implement on Waves. Could you please provide us a bit more details that you gave in the Medium article? So what it will actually offer to the users, how does it compare to lending that we have in the market?
Yeah, so basically what we want to do with lending is not so unique because it effectively we need this for a Waves ecosystem, you know, and you can't, we always try to come up with some new ideas, as you probably have noticed if you were following Waves. But in this case, I think it's going to be quite traditional because we just need the thing to, you know, to complete our DeFi ecosystem, because DeFi consists of two parts basically now. This is like exchange part, swap part, where you can swap one asset for another one on chain. And it's not enough because if you add some lending to this, people are able to borrow assets on leverage, you know. So you can just deposit one Bitcoin and borrow like to, I don't know how many, maybe like 1,000 Ethereum, you know. And it will allow for like marginal trading on margin. It's quite important. And if you have margin trading, and people love to trade, you know, people love to trade, love to gamble. So I won't discuss whether it's bad or good. You know, this is like reality. People want to make money. So if you have this like functionality in your chain, the number of transactions is increased drastically. Yeah. So with lending protocol, we will achieve a higher number of transactions because people will be borrowing money from the protocol and doing swaps on Swop.fi, on Waves.Exchange. So in terms of functionality, it shouldn't be too different from Avi, for example, or Compound. Yeah, so it's going to be something quite similar to this. But once we have this, we will see a huge improvement to TVL, total value locked on Waves, and it's going to grow very fast. So to summarize, Waves lending protocol is going to replicate what has been done on Ethereum, but we do this to make sure that we achieve our goal of locking 10 billion in different Waves DeFi products by this fall.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Right. Green Frog, it would be your turn.
Hey.
Hey. So I have a question about Neutrino. Yeah, like you said, pretty much the whole fate of Waves depends on Neutrino right now and on USDN. We haven't seen a bear market yet with DeFi, so we don't know how DeFi behaves in a bear market. So I'm thinking of a scenario which is not unlikely, I guess, where there's too much USDN circulating and no use for it. So a bank run starts, or people just lose faith in USDN. So right now, the only safeguard for the whole system is NSBT. Do you think NSBT is enough the way it's designed right now? Or do we need other safeguards to...
Yeah, actually, you know, so actually, I think it's enough because what happened to Neutrino, it was under-collateralized for a while, around a year and some ago, it was under-collateralized, you know, and nothing happened. It was like capitalization was, I guess, around maybe 20 million, and it was under-collateralized, and nothing happened basically. So, okay, we went through that testing phase then. And as for NSBT, I think it's quite unique in terms of functionality because it makes sure that it's very lucrative to buy NSBT when Neutrino backing goes lower, you know, because you have this gap between smart contract price and market price. and when backing goes down, this gap is closing. So there's like this opportunity to buy NSBT cheap and recapitalize USDN. And there is quite a bit of swaps going on, and I think we'll have more of them in future. And people understand this is just a good moment to buy NSBT when the gap is closing. And by doing so, they just recapitalize Neutrino. So I think this mechanism is quite unique and efficient. You know, so there is no guarantee, of course. You must understand that there is no guarantee for the peg for any stable coin. It's just impossible, you know, to achieve that. So it's some kind of a dynamic peg that shouldn't be broken in like normal situation. Or even in abnormal situation, which doesn't last too long. But for example, if we see some kind of catastrophe on financial markets, like traditional markets, when, for example, S&P goes down incredibly as it did a year ago, so anything can happen, you know. So, but I think USDN has proven to be quite stable even in those conditions, because as I said, it was under collateralized for months, you know. So we just wanted to understand what would happen and didn't do anything about it, and nothing happened, you know. So USDN is quite stable, and with that NSBT mechanisms, which make sure that it's very profitable to buy USDN when backing goes down. I think we have a very stable coin now. You know, this stable coin is quite stable because, and for example, just about stability of USDN, because I have been dealing with USDN a lot last year, you know, so with development, with like promotion, with different applications. For example, we had the situation on Curve, you know, on Curve pool, when people just took money from USDN Curve pool before New Year, and people started withdrawing USDN into Waves. It's like quite interesting. This is, of course, something quite unexpected, and it can happen always. But nothing happened basically. People just sold their Waves tokens, and USDN returned to the peg. So the peg held basically. You know, nothing happened. So there is different checks that make sure that USDN remains in balance, and I think it's highly unlikely that anything could happen to it. I think this is one of the most stable coins around, actually, because we have been thinking about the stability a lot, and we have tested it in, you know, in very different circumstances, when people just tried to arbitrage Curve pool with basically with USDN peg, and USDN went down for a while, like for 2 days, and then it just returned to peg, and just some Waves tokens were sold on market, and Waves went down a little, which is not good, yeah, but at the same time, USDN didn't have any problems. It also was under collateralized for a while, so it went through a lot, you know. So I'm pretty sure that nothing can break USDN, and this is the real stable coin, and nothing can hurt it. That's my like belief, and I have seen that my belief actually was actually very close to reality, and I think that USDN has proven to be quite stable.
Okay, yeah, I'm still somewhat skeptical, because I think the dimensions between 100 million and 10 billion is quite different. And how do you think how many waves are on the market when there's 10 billion locked?
10 billion in USDN or
yeah, because you said 10 billion in USDN locked. How many
yeah,
waves?
so I
You
think
just
right
as a
now
rough estimate, do you guess were left on the market?
You mean how many waves is
What percentage
where?
of waves would have to be locked to have 10 billion?
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
So I think that it is achievable if we lock maybe 10 to 15% more, and probably we won't be able to lock all the waves tokens into Neutrino smart contracts. It's just impossible, you know. But you need to understand if you're like a market maker, or if you think about the waves price, which is fine, of course, because people in this market want to make money and they want to understand whether the token goes up or down. We have most of liquidity locked into USDN because I estimate that the free float of waves is around 10% of the total supply now, which is quite low. So the situation for like market making is quite good, I would say, you know. And as for different milestones, for example, what happens when USDN has 10 billion capitalization? I think it scales pretty nicely, you know. So I don't think this is a matter of like milestones like that, because it just scales up nicely. So it doesn't matter too much if Neutrino is 100 million or 10 billion. And at this stage, I think we would need to lock around 10%, around 10, I guess at most 10 million waves more into Neutrino protocol to make sure that wave capitalization grows quite drastically, which is, at this stage is quite important. I never talked about like capitalization. But in the bull phase of the market, you know, you just have to mention that. And in our case, most of Waves token is locked. Free float is quite tiny, and the situation is quite good for Waves. So we just need to start implementing our roadmap, and Waves capitalization is going to follow.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we have Crypto Samurai on stage. So would be your turn if you're still there. And in the meantime, we can ask.
Yeah, he's here. Yeah.
Yeah. Hello.
Hey.
Yeah. Thank you for taking your time. My question is on algo trading pools, which was recently announced. Okay. So how long are these algo trading pools tested before they were announced live? And as we can see, even the BTC and Ethereum algo trading like pools are going live. So my interest is to know how long were these tested before.
Yeah. I will reply to this with pleasure, actually. So we have different projects on Waves. We have also trading, like for years, yeah. And this algorithm has been in testing, like not in testing, but like in actual trading with real money, for more than a year and a half, you know. And it has been tested like for years back, like back tests are going back like decades ago, so to say, yeah, like not decades, of course, because it's crypto, but 5 to 7 years. And it was in live trading for almost 2 years. And we just want to share this with community because this is extremely profitable, you know. The current crypto market allows for very successful and profitable trend following strategies, because it's a very trendy, so to say, market, because there's very strong trends in this market, and you can actually make a lot of money. So we just want to share this strategy, this because this is like a separate team which is like exists within Waves ecosystem, and part of the trades will happen on Waves Exchange. It can be followed. I must admit that we don't have that much liquidity on Waves Exchange. Eventually, all the trades should be on Waves Exchange, but for now, there's just not enough liquidity there. So we have to spread funds over different exchanges, keeping some of the funds on Waves Exchange, and basically our idea is to eventually have it all on Waves Exchange, so people can follow a little bit, because we can't actually. It doesn't make sense to keep it completely transparent, because people will just copy the trades, So that's not what we want actually. But at the same time, in this market, this is the opportunity for like normal people to participate in the growth of the whole crypto space, with very low risk, because you have very strong trends, you have very strong uptrends, you have very clear pullbacks when you can open short positions and make money. So it's a very, very, like clear market. You understand that those bots that use like trend following strategies are very, very profitable here. Some people make the same profits like trading manually, but bots might make this thing very simple, and you can actually offer it to users, so you can invite users to participate in this. And there is some like nice combination of decentralization, of DeFi, where you have an LP token for this, and you can just sell an LP token without withdrawing the funds. And it is combined with centralized trading. So it's a very unique product, and our goal is mostly to offer our users an opportunity to participate in the growth of the whole crypto space, and actually not to trade, but to just participate, because not everybody can trade. And those bots have been like in live mode for years, and I'm pretty sure that the profits are going to be very nice for everybody here.
Yes. Is Waves associated with any trading firm who design who build proprietary trading models?
Yeah,
For this
we have had those projects on Waves for years. So I was a trader myself before crypto. So I'm actually quite interested in this. It's not my like. Trading is something that actually I don't do personally, so I don't trade any tokens, but I do understand trading, and we have been developing different crypto strategies for years. For different scenarios, there's like we have different things. Option trading, for example, is about to be launched, and many different things actually. So we don't work with any major firms, because for now, but that actually might change. But this is something that we have been working on for years.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Yapai, it would be your turn. Yapai, are you still on stage? So he seems to be not here. Sasha, there is one question from the channel. When USDN or any other Neutrino-based fiat alternative could be used with credit debit cards?
It can be used now, actually. I think that Waves.Exchange won't be accepting credit cards directly. We want to implement some peer-to-peer mode of buying crypto on Waves.Exchange because it's like more natural for DEXs. So it's going to be some peer-to-peer like OTC trading, which will allow you to just swap funds with different users. But we have had credit cards on Waves.Exchange for quite a while. But I think we will move into more appropriate modes of operation for decentralized exchanges, where you just allow your users to trade with each other as it is customary on OTC market.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, good. I have a question. Will there be another token for Waves governance, or are we going to farm Waves NSBT?
No. For Neutrino governance, you mean? Or
Waves
for what?
governance or Waves Gov.
For governing what? Like for Neutrino, we have NSBT, and we won't launch another one. Which governance do you mean?
It was written on the Medium blog.
Just maybe could you quote, please?
I can't remember it right now, but it was for NSBT, I guess.
No. So no new governance for Neutrino. So we have to make sure that NSBT has the functionality we planned for it and reaches at least $100 and is listed at more exchanges. So before that, we won't launch new tokens for related to Neutrino. So for now, no. So we will still have a lot to do on NSBT.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So do we have any more questions here on stage after? Yeah, I screened the channel actually. Most of the questions are related to NSBT. I think you have answered them already. So guys, if there are any more questions here on stage, please feel free to ask Sasha.
Yeah, so basically I covered, I think, all the topics here. Maybe I didn't mention Gravity and nobody asked. But we have some important developments for Gravity as well. There's going to be some kind of swap protocol for different pools on different chains based on Gravity. And we are thinking about how to launch it properly now. Talking to different blockchains, so this is like business development phase. But it is based on Gravity, and it could allow to provide liquidity, for example, for USDN on Ethereum. We try to solve this problem when you import your token to another chain, but that's not all. You have to come up with liquidity for it, So, and there's going to be some kind of interchain pools which will solve this problem because it's not solved for now. And we plan to interact not only with Ethereum or Binance Smart Chain, but with other projects such as, for example, Avalanche and others, to create some kind of like interchain agnostic protocol for providing liquidity for interchain tokens on their like non-native chains. Yeah, for when you move your Neutrino to Ethereum, like there is no liquidity automatically. and we want to solve this problem. And we're working on this, so there's going to be some announcement for this as well. And what I probably haven't mentioned or didn't mention in enough detail, we're going to have node release until the end of spring. It's also be quite important for NSBT because it will provide new functionality for NSBT governance and will be quite important. And of course, we're going to have cross smart contract calls when one smart contract can call another one. This is the basis, for example, for flash loans, and this is what actually, in my opinion, made Ethereum great. Because this is a functionality that really became the cornerstone of Ethereum success. And we have taken another route with our approach to smart contracts. It's non-Turing complete. It actually doesn't have gas, which has some advantages, but it took us a while to implement that functionality that was in Ethereum, because there is a totally different approach. We don't replicate Ethereum. We do our own thing, and it takes time. But now we will implement those calls from one smart contract to another, and this will enable, for example, flash loans, where you can borrow money from a smart contract and give it back in the same transaction, which allows for arbitrage without money, actually. You can do arbitrage having no money. It's quite important. This is what we're going to do until fall this year, so with the goal of locking $10 billion on Waves in different DeFi products, and it will help with capitalization as well. So guys, I hope you will help us, because we try to do something like useful and meaningful for the community, and if you spread the word about what we do, I personally will be very grateful, and basically it could help us help you, to make some money and to actually to grow the value of your Waves tokens. So we hope that you will help us with spreading the word, and we will be doing those AMAs more often. I will be personally doing them because I think that it's quite important at this stage of crypto development, when we basically start another leg of huge bull market, to be in close touch to our community. So probably this is not the last time I'm going to do it, and I think I will be doing more like local communities AMAs to make sure that everybody is on the same page and people understand what we try to achieve, because I must admit that we have this problem, because we have been maybe focusing too much on development, and sometimes we were like forgetting about marketing. But I think this should end, because technology doesn't exist without being used, So we will be working on technology, but at the same time, I want to make sure that everybody understands what we do and everybody sees value in what we do, guys. So I think this is like the new phase for Waves, and hope that you're going to help us to achieve the success which is very possible for Waves, and we'll do that together. Thank you, and see you later. And I think that we will be doing this quite often now.
Thank you, Sasha. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, BNS, for your help, because without you, we would be dead now, I guess. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.